Welcome to Beach Park District 3's Beyond the Bell, the podcast where we connect with the incredible people in our district and share the stories that make our culture unique. I'm Gabe Capozzo, the Director of Human Resource, and today's episode, much like every episode for all different reasons, is very special to me personally. We are connecting with an educator at Oak Crest Elementary, a building that's very near and dear to my heart because I actually began my own career teaching a 3rd through 5th grade special education classroom right there at Oak Crest Elementary. Knowing firsthand the dedication that it takes to lead these exceptional groups of students, I'm incredibly excited to sit down with today's guest who joined our district in 2023 and dive into her world of special education and hear about the impact that she's currently making on our students every single day, and I'm sure vice versa, the impact the students are making on her. I always find it most impactful when our guests share their story in their own words. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to all of you and our audience, Mrs. Meghan Myers. Hello, Meghan. How are you?
Good. How are you doing today?
I'm well. Thank you so much for asking. And I know that it's a big deal. It's a lot of your time and you're spending it with me. So I just want to say thank you for being courageous. Thank you for taking the time to share your story. And I'm super excited to get to know you better and tackle some of these questions and let you tell your story. So, special education. You have to be a deeply compassionate person and find a calling in special ed. And as a former teacher at Oak Crest Elementary School myself, I really am eager to hear about your journey and what led you to us. You started in Beach Park District 3 in 2023. So would you mind sharing for us your journey that brought you into education? Tell us about you, what led you to Beach Park District 3 and the current work you're doing today?
Absolutely. Start with coming to specifically Beach Park. I'm not originally from around here. I was moving in with my, at the time, a boyfriend, now husband, and he works in Wisconsin, actually. And I grew up, I just say northern Illinois, moving around all over the place. So I was looking at different places, and Beach Park came up as a place that was really close to where I am right now, living with my husband. And it's honestly was such a great opportunity to come over here. I say that now, but actually, when I was first looking for places, I almost went to a different school. Yeah,
Okay.
I almost did, but I actually was able to spend a little bit more time looking at the building, hearing more about the programs here. And honestly, I was also spending time meeting more people, just knowing more about the community. And that just kind of changed my mind. And I was like, you know what? Let's come here. Let's see what this place is about. And I have been happily here at Beach Park ever since.
Well, let me formally welcome you to Wisconsin. I live in Wisconsin, just over the border, Kenosha. And I'm going to be honest with you, I grew up in Kenosha for most of my life, never heard of Beach Park, and had a unique opportunity to come to this school district, 20 years ago. So that's been a while. But Wisconsin is great. So I got to shout out our Wisconsin peeps. And then I would love to know a little bit, like you mentioned, getting an opportunity to learn more about the school. So is this when you were interviewing in the process, did we invite you to say, hey, come and meet the team or come and meet the people, or what was that like?
Right. So when I first went here, I looked at the building. I got to do a little bit of a tour at my interview.
Okay.
And so I was able to see people, but it was over the summer. And so I didn't have as many people that were on the team really there.
Yeah.
So I went another time. I took a moment. I met some people. I actually was able to talk on the phone to a couple of people as well.
All right.
And through communications and all of those things, I was able to say, you know what, let's give it a shot. Let's go. And then the community of different educators and everybody here, they work so hard to be there for the kids. And I'm very happy with people that I've met, and I've made some really dear friends here.
Okay. That's great to hear. Good. Well, thanks for sharing that. Man, that's warming. So I like to know that we're putting that kind of effort into the people that we want to be in and become part of our family and treat them like that. So I'm glad that's been your experience. Every single teacher, right? Teaching is hard and it's actually a lot of work to get into education and become a teacher. So going back a little bit, every teacher has a why. And what was a moment in either your childhood or your rearing, or maybe it was college, or maybe you landed in it that brought you into education and then specifically special ed?
So I actually was not in grade school. I was not always the best student. I was a solid C to B student in general. And I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I wanted to be the best that I possibly could be. And it caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress about am I good enough for anything? I'm average at best. And what do I do? I actually had a moment where, well, many moments. I have had many conversations with my father, and he was able to talk to me and told me that, hey, Megan, you have skills that are not necessarily something that can be seen on paper. You can't get a grade on kindness. You can't get a grade on how to be emotionally competent. You can't necessarily have a grade for that. That something does not really always show up on a grade book. So I took that with me when I went to college. When I was in college, I actually went to community college first. And when I was in community college, I had to take a gen ed prerequisite for anybody who's going to be a teacher. And it was special education 101, essentially. I still own the book. In fact, yeah, the textbook for it is sitting right on my shelf right over there. And it just was, here is what special education is, and here are the different accommodations that can be done for it. And that kind of spoke to me
Yep.
because in that class, I had this wonderful professor. She shared her experiences in the classroom, as well as her mother, who was also a special education teacher. They shared their experiences and how they got to where they were. And it was so inspiring to me because the way that they spoke said that they believed that every student can do this. You just have to find what it is that they specifically love and what they are good at. Everyone has something they're good at. And that hit me hard, especially since I was in grade school. I was not the best. I was fine. But that hit me so hard that I just was like, that's it. This is my path. This is my calling. And I hadn't looked back after that. I worked full time as a para while also going to school full time. I dedicated as much time as I possibly could to gain as much experience in the classroom to know what it was really like, because I wanted to be there to help the kids that they just need that extra push. And they need to know that their kindness, their creative thinking, their different ability to think outside of the box, that is something that's appreciated, even
Oh,
if it doesn't always translate to a paper grade.
so powerful. Like, man, should we just stop the show right now? I mean, can it get better than that? That's like such a wow. Good for you. You've done something I think a lot of our guests, and I'm not confident a lot of people have done, and you worked as a paraprofessional before getting into the classroom. How do you think that helped prepare you?
So when I worked as a para, it really truly showed me what a classroom is like. You can learn all the things in the textbooks as you possibly can, and you can know all of the theories, but this is not my quote. I learned this in school and it stuck with me. Teaching is part art and part science. You use what you know is scientifically and data-driven understandings to help, but you need to move with it and move with what the kids can know. That's the art, and
Yeah.
how to manipulate it for them and okay, speak their language. How can you get there? And this being a para essentially was, here's how to teach that language. Here's what it's really like a little bit. Here's how to see how these elements work when you're all talking about it together. And I also learned to have a lot of respect for paras. They work so hard and they deserve all the flowers, honestly.
Truth.
They are the heart and soul, and SPED is so hard to do on your own. And they are there to make sure that you are okay. And they're there for the kids. I have so much respect for them.
I totally agree with you. It can't be done. My experiences at the job couldn't be done without my parents. That's it. Like, it just, there was no way to balance it. You spoke a lot about people that have had an influence on you. And I wanted to ask you if there was a mentor or a former teacher who helped kind of shape the way that you approach your classroom today. I want to give you the opportunity to answer the question if you haven't already.
I have a couple of people in mind.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time in my grade school. I might not have been the greatest student, but I was always watching. I watched how people talked. I watched how they were moving. What were they thinking about? What caused them to create this thought process? And one teacher that really stood out to me because was my fifth grade teacher. His name was Mr. V. He was this older man who always ate lunch with the kids. And I'm not kidding. Sometimes just to get a laugh, he would eat a banana peel. He was amazing. And he taught me kindness because there were times I was not a very well liked kid at that school, but he noticed that. And instead of trying to bring attention to it, he gave me opportunities to grow and be a different kind of person in a very subtle way that it just helped me learn to accept who I am. And so he was a great inspiration for me. There was that professor that I had in college. And honestly, I have a colleague here that she has been such a huge inspiration for me. And she has been there when the days are tough, because they happen, tough days happen. She and I will talk and like, okay, this is what happened. How can we think about it in a different way, make it work out differently? And that's Ebony Singleton.
Beautiful.
She's absolutely like, we'll sit there and we'll talk and say, hey, this is what's happening. And then one thing she'll tell me casually, maybe if you look at it from this direction. And then it completely changes my mind, and it is awe-inspiring, honestly.
Man, shout out to Ebony for
Yes.
sure. All right. Thank you for doing that. I'm confident she will listen to this and she's going to
Mhm.
hear that. And you couldn't have been more authentic. Like, what a great thing to hear for her.
She's wonderful.
All right. So you're in your third year with us. Is that right? Okay. So
Yes.
what's one thing that you would reflect on about, I guess, Oak Crest Elementary rather than Beach Park that you didn't really know when you first started in the community?
So honestly, about this community, this area, I said that I had just moved to this area when I came here. One thing specifically about OC though is the kids are absolutely the most understanding students I have ever met. They are kind, they care about everyone. And I mean, whether you're in a special education, self-contained classroom, or you're just another member of the classroom, they share that kindness and they're just understanding.
Yeah.
And it's truly amazing seeing that. I've seen other schools, other places, they don't necessarily always treat those who have special needs the same way. And
Yeah.
no, it's wonderful.
I'll speak to that with regard to my experience. I always thought that with all the years that I spent at Oak Crest teaching special education, that those students, the entire population of kids, the general education population of kids, they get this unique opportunity to work in a building that has a large population of students with various special needs. And I always felt that they left our building with a better understanding of empathy, kindness, and support for students because there's no dividing line at Oak Crest. The kids are all integrated, they're all together. And that was such a service to all the students to be a part of that Oak Crest family that I was just so always proud to watch happen. And I transitioned from Oak Crest to the middle school. And then I got to see our Oak Crest kids move into the middle school in the entire population of kids. And they were so much more understanding and tolerant and supportive of students where they just take them under their wing. They were part of their Oak Crest family. Those were kids that they had always been around, and there was no difference. It didn't matter if it was cognitive or physical. There was no difference. They were all just friends. And there was a difference for students coming from other buildings, and not in an intentionally bad way. There just wasn't the exposure. So I feel like you're seeing that. Is that accurate?
Absolutely. I actually have some students in my classroom who they have some of those physical struggles that they have. And when I tell you one of them is pretty much adored by almost all of the school, I
Yeah.
mean that this student
Yeah.
is a bit of a local celebrity.
Nice.
Everyone loves them.
I love it. Oh my gosh. That's I know those kids from being in that building. How endearing is that? Like a local celebrity. The kids just love it, embrace them.
Mhm.
It's so special. It's so special. It just really warms my heart to hear you say these things because it brings me back to being there and knowing that everyone in your building's getting that. Man, it's so fulfilling. I love our community. I love you're sharing it because our community can hear you tell this story, and it's the absolute truth. So special education. Progress is often measured like in small little victories rather than these huge milestones. So what's a recent win one of your students had that made you really proud?
There's a lot of little wins, honestly.
Yeah, if there are. That's a tough question.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of one that
I'm sure it happened today.
absolutely. I had a kid today. So, one thing with my population of special education is that they don't necessarily have that expansion on what their answer is. So, they don't necessarily always understand what the why is for why they choose an answer. They just say, this is the answer that I chose. One of my kids today, it was okay, you chose your answer. Why? So right now, we in our morning meetings, we have our number corner for our program of math, and it's March comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. That is a phrase that we're working with, talking about the weather. And how does the weather look? What does that do? And a lamb being the calm, the spring weather, the lion being more of the harsher weather, snowy, rainy, all those kinds of things. And all of my kids, except for one, had chosen lamb. So I looked over to the kid that went, okay, why did you say lion? And he just looks over to me and says, it's because it's cloudy. And normally he previously would just say, oh, it's because I like lions. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that's not the answer. But now it's oh, no, it's because it's cloudy outside. That's why I think it. I'm like, huh, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Win.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What do you think it is? You touched on like the kids. Like how does a day with your colleagues at Oak Crest work to ensure that your students feel fully integrated into the full school community?
Part of that is that we have them as much as they possibly can with their at gen ed peers. They work together as much as they possibly can. I work with my colleagues, both in special education and in general education, to see, okay, what are different activities that we can do to combine everything? What do we need as modifications to make sure that the kids can be successful? And what necessarily would be something that they can do this fun activity all together. We had the kindergarten and first grade all together for the 100th day of school, all together. Everyone did work together. Gen ed, special ed, everything. It was so fun.
Inclusion. Like inclusion. You guys collaborated to include. That's
Yes.
awesome. Just to clarify, what grade levels do you teach?
I teach kindergarten and first grade special education, the full instructional. So that means that there's a lot of like developmental delays in the
Okay.
classroom.
Beautiful. Well, thank you for that. Besides teaching, I'm confident you're probably involved in other things. So, what are some of the other roles or hats you find yourself wearing to support the building in the students? Are you on committees? Are you doing things outside of school?
I actually was one of the assistant directors for the musical. Yeah, so we did Finding Nemo Junior,
Yes.
and they had an absolute blast with that. And I have personally a lot of fun with music and all that stuff with them. I'm also actually a mentor teacher for one of the paras here. She, in my classroom, I work with her to do some of our learning and make sure that she can get her degree to become a teacher herself. So we've been working all year together on things to just learn how to be a better teacher.
That's a huge deal. Thank you for that. I've been working very closely with an outside organization, Bloom Board, to provide the district. I shouldn't say I head it up. The district's working really hard to provide financial support and opportunity for our paraprofessionals to become certified teachers, and they are required to have a mentor the entire program. And I know that's a lot of extra work. And I got to tell you, because I got this opportunity, I am super grateful that you're doing that. So thank you so much.
Honestly, she does an amazing job and she's so great and always ready to learn, and it's a great way. She's here all year and able to work with the kids.
Yeah. For your students, how are they teaching you resilience and patience?
Every day.
Yeah.
They teach me patience when we work on one way that's funny in my opinion is they don't computer issues. Like, okay, I taught you how to do this, but we need to just press that button right there. And so just learning to take it slow, they need their time. They teach me that. But another thing about resilience is I have kids in my class and have in the previous years had students that personally in their lives have gone through more than I could imagine in my own. Everybody has their own stories that brings them to where they're at this moment. And some of those stories, they are they can be tough.
Yeah.
They have gone through so much, but they still come in to school every day with a smile on their face, absolutely ready to learn. And when I see that, it's just, okay, I got to meet you where you're at because you're smiling, you're good. I need to be there to help you. And however that looks, I will do that.
Totally, totally, totally true.
Mhm.
Absolutely 100% right on. It's like a common answer that, we don't know what's in the backpack when they come to school because it's a lot. They carry a lot with them. But yeah, thank you for doing that. And you're so right. So you articulated it perfectly. For a teacher considering special ed in Beach Park, what would you tell them about the resources and mentorship or support you've gotten here?
It's a community. Honestly, if you have a question, if you need advice, or you're just not sure where to go with something, there are people there who will help. They've probably been through the same things. They can give you resources, offer advice. They can give you a different perspective. Since there's a very high population of special education in this building, I've seen teaching in general can somewhat be seen as solitary. You can feel very alone when you're teaching because you're maybe the only adults in the room. You've got a bunch of kids and you're not sure where to go with it. But the community, there are people who are willing and able to help you and they want to see your kids succeed. You're not alone. It might feel like it in the moment, but you're not alone. There are people who are willing to help you and they want to be there for you.
Yeah, and I like to take this moment when you give an answer like that and it comes across. Like, I always like people to also understand for the listeners that, a lot of times administration doesn't know you need help unless you ask for it. We try to be around, administrators try to be around, your principal tries to be around, and it's difficult to ask for help sometimes, especially for new teachers because they want to make the best impression. They want to work hard. We know everybody's grinding. And I think I would just leave that answer, or at least my part of it, by saying, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think, Megan, you're absolutely right. Like, we are in a community. I've never been in a building, and I've worked in every building in this district. I've never been in one building that someone wasn't there to help. We're all willing to do it. You'd be hard pressed to not find somebody seeing you struggle and be like, not help you. It's, it really is a great feeling. And I wanted to ask you about that. because we have teachers that struggle. And I think you answered it really, really well. So thank you for that. And it also speaks to the collegiality of your building. I would imagine you probably have to work with multiple different teachers.
I have at least one chart inside my computer. I think, yeah, there's a tab of it open right now of a list of all of the different teachers that I work with and the different services they provide. There is easily about 8 to 10 different people that I work with on an absolutely regular basis, not to mention some of the ones that I just don't see as often, but I still work with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
there's a
awesome to
lot.
hear. That's awesome to hear. How about your parents? How do you partner with them?
I have an open communication. I use Class Dojo pretty much religiously.
Okay.
I use it all the time. I will send the parents pictures. I work with them if they have a question, if there's anything that they need to do with their kiddo. I will be there. We work together, phone calls all the time, and we work together. If there's something that we need for the classroom to do a craft of some sort, I have sent a message saying, hey, if you have any extra toilet paper rolls, could you send them our way? And when I tell you 30 came the next day, it was impressive.
I love that. Good. Let me get some quick fire questions. I know you got to
Yeah.
run and your time is valuable. If you weren't a teacher, what would you be doing?
Ooh, I would probably be an editor. I love to read. So
Ooh, dang. Okay.
yeah.
Are you binge reading something right now?
I'm kind of in between books,
Okay.
but like I've got a whole backlog of stuff right now. Right now, it's probably going to be like I have a murder mystery that's coming
Okay.
up next.
Love it. What's your go-to energy boost to get you through the day?
Chocolate.
Okay. Anything
I
specific?
not really, just chocolate in general. That's my go-to. I don't drink caffeine. It
Okay.
doesn't agree with me, so just a
Okay.
little sweet pep up that works for
Okay.
me.
All right. How about a hobby or interest outside of reading?
I am an absolute nerd. So I do all sorts of like superhero movies, comics, all of those kinds of things. I love them so much.
All right. You got a favorite superhero?
Oh, okay.
That's tough.
For Marvel, it's definitely Spider-Man.
Okay.
DC, it's the Batman whole family of everybody all together. I love them all.
Man, what a vibe. I am so digging these answers. Yeah, you and I, okay. Best piece of advice, I think you already gave it to me. Like the advice you said about your dad at the beginning, it's totally endearing. How about are you a concert goer?
Oh, yeah.
Best
My
concert?
husband does music stuff, so all the
Okay.
time going to instrument.
What's the best concert you've ever been to? Where was it and why?
I've got a lot, but one
Okay.
of the number one ones actually is an artist, Leve. She's Icelandic and she does a lot of beautiful jazzy numbers. And I've seen her twice, once at Lollapalooza
All
and
right.
once at her concert this past October. And she's just near and dear to my heart. One of her songs was actually my first dance with my husband.
Love this. All right. I'm writing it down. I'm going to find out and then I'm going to touch base with you and be like, yeah, it was a vibe.
Yeah.
All right. I know you got to go. So I just want to say this was amazing for starters. Thank you so much, Meghan. Like hearing about your heart that you have for your students, your experience in special education, man, my heart is with you because that's where mine was at too. It's exactly the reason we have the show, just to get to know people. And how great is this? So I want to personally thank you for your hard work, your dedication to your students, the courage and vulnerability to be on the show with me and share who you are, just a little bit of you. I'm always happy to welcome people back. So, because I know we're short on time, if you ever want to hang out with me again, you are totally invited.
Absolutely.
Cool. Your work is so important, just like everyone else's. And for the audience, for the people that are already part of Beach Park, thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you for being you. Your work doesn't go unseen either. Keep holding each other up. Keep listening to the channel, volunteering to be on the show so we can all get to know everybody in this community. And if you want to be a part of this community, man, there's a testament to special education. Go to our website at bpd3.org, say hello to us, apply for opportunities. You know who I am because I started out at the beginning. You can call me and ask me any question you want and follow the channel, like and subscribe. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, YouTube, all the social medias were there for you. Anything for the good of the order, Meghan. Anything extra.
Honestly, thank you for having me. This has been wonderful, and this community is really great.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, with that, you want to say goodbye with me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye.